Okay, what's up guys? Paul here with a new vlog. So, if you're enjoying the videos of late, please hit that like and subscribe button. And today's vlog is going to be a talking head discussion video, yeah? Leaving to one side the sort of like travel vlogs, music stuff. Because there's an issue I really want to tackle, and I've been discussing a bit on Twitter and Instagram, and I decided I really got to get my full vlog up now to get my full views across on the Bernardo Silva tweet to Benjamin Mendy, alright? Like, there's so much I want to say about this. It's just, I'm so frustrated with so much misconceptions around it and the completely ridiculous stories that are being spun around it, you know? So, where to begin? I'll also try to do this in just one take, so excuse if, you know, I'm humming and hawing getting onto my next point, because there's a lot of things I want to get through. I haven't written out a script or anything. Let's start at the beginning. Okay, so about whatever 10 days ago, Manchester City player Bernardo Silva, fresh from scoring a hat-trick, irrelevant, just like it's totally irrelevant that he's Benjamin Mendy's friend, as I'm going to explain in a moment, tweets publicly tagging his friend Benjamin Mendy alongside a picture of the Conguitos cartoon, which is a Spanish chocolate peanut product. All right, a lot of this is esoteric by now. I won't want to. There's a lot I want to get through, so I don't want to. If you're watching this video, you know the tweet. All right, I have the picture up here. Can we bring it up? Let's bring it up. Hey Jamie, pull that up. So it's a little 5-6-year-old Benjamin Mendy side by side with the Conguitos character. Guess who? 3 laughing emojis with the tear laughing. Yeah. Silva immediately started getting backlash from people saying it's discriminatory, it has racial connotations and undertones. He deleted it and then said, you guys with the face palm can't even have a joke with a friend anymore. So the dichotomy here is that it's the people who can't defend it and think it was wrong. Look, I think it was wrong. It doesn't mean that I think he should be banned or that I think he is a racist, although the very definition of a racist is far vaguer and harder to pin down than people try to make out. So there's people that, you know, are against it, and then there's the others who say it was just Richard Keesian banter. It was just a joke. As Pep Guardiola, who really hasn't covered himself in any glory, a man who is regarded as one of the biggest intellectuals, has been so dumb with the things he said around it. Pep, we know it was supposed to be a joke. We know they're teammates and mates. We know it wasn't Silva saying this about, say, like, I'm thinking of another black player at a top club, Sadio Mane. It wasn't just him saying it to a guy who's a stranger to him, which would then be completely indefensible, because, you know, you don't say that to people you don't know. But you don't necessarily say it to people you do know either. It doesn't really matter that they're friends. I want to tackle that first of all. The friendship thing, they're friends, they're just mates, it's just mate banter. First of all, it's not just mate banter when it went public to 600,000 followers, plus all the retweets. Millions of people ultimately saw it all over social media platforms and news outlets. Secondly, let's say it wasn't even public, all right? Let's say he was saying it, you know, in a reasonably private area and people overheard it. And I'm not a snowflake. Like, go and look at my Instagram stories or the videos I do. Like, I've got a wild, filthy sense of humor. But there's just things you don't really say to your mates, and we gotta put a stop to this, like, dichotomy of snowflake versus the snowflake thing, which I don't know if Joe Rogan came up with that or Alex Jones. Now, if you're offended by anything, you're a snowflake. I'm not offended by Bernardo Silva's tweet. It didn't lose any sleep over, but it frustrates me that he thinks it's a normal bit of banter. Do you know what I mean? It's just not what you're supposed to be saying to your mates. You know, people are gonna say if they're watching this for, oh, you got black friends, like you couldn't be racist. You know that? Like, I've got lots of black friends. I do have a couple of black buddies. I would cringe at the thought of even making the joke like that. Let me get into it. Why? Don't really want to have to spell it out too much, although maybe I really should have by now. I'm probably going to go off track a few times. I'm going to have to come back in and make my points clear and concise, because the Conguitos character, whether you like it or not, is steeped in racial discrimination towards black, African American people. That is clear as day. The people who are defending it, you just don't get it. You need to go back and watch the original cartoons, right? It's from Spain. Spain today has it's always had a serious issue with skin tone, going back to the Reconquista, the way they were conquered back by they were originally, part of the country was conquered by the Muslims, los musulmanes, and there's a very, complicated history there with race, and they've always looked down on blacks. There's lots of like horrible stereotyping. This was made in the 1960s, yeah, so they've got questions to answer to. Why were they allowed to make that product, which is clearly making these cartoons look silly and primitive and backward and just dopey, and for the white hands to pluck them up. I'll try to bring in that cartoon on the video, the original 1960s one. So yeah, they're the ones that brought it in. So, people saying, oh, but Silva's just tweeting a picture that exists. But he shouldn't be, he shouldn't be linking it to his black friend in that way and making fun of him. And let me go back to the friends. I didn't make that point clear enough because there's so much I want to say here. Have you never seen mates who bully other mates? Like, take any group of 10 lads. There's an alpha in there and there's a beta. There's a guy who's constantly the butt of jokes. Maybe he's the smallest, maybe he's physically his weakest, maybe he has some issue there that people have always picked on. And it's banter, but really lad banter. And I get banter, I love banter, but there's points where it is bullying, do you know what I mean? Where it is just, you're punching down. And Mendy's reaction to it, that he laughed back. I'm not taking agency away from a black person here. I think, genuinely, I think he wouldn't like it. Alright, if you look at his replies, I speak French, I also lived in a mixed race community in Paris in the 19th arrondissement. I know about the very complicated racial tensions in France as well. His replies are filled with, for the way in which he laughed back at Silva and saying 1-0, t'es le nègre de maison, quoi. Are you the house, N-I-G-G-E-R? Black French people are saying they're disappointed at the docility and weakness of his response, which needs to be more explained in the context, right? He's living in Brexit Britain, he's living in traditionally white man's England, I'm not, Bernardo Silva is Portuguese, Pep Guardiola is Catalan Spanish, but he's in a minority, Mendy, sorry. And I feel like probably he's wanting to not upset the apple cart and laugh along there. If anyone is trying to tell me they've never seen a bullied victim trying to laugh along and just play along because they're afraid to call it out. If you call it out, oh, you're too sensitive, you're hysterical and sensitive, you know what I mean? So publicly he was not going to tweet back to Mendy and be like, you're racist, you racist, my friend, my teammate, and provoke a massive scandal which could have seen Silva banned from football forevermore if his mate had turned on him like that. Of course Mendy, against maybe his gut reaction, of course he was going to defend Silva there publicly, just like Sterling defended. What was Sterling going to do? Sterling, a player who has been enveloped in race storms for the way that English tabloids have portrayed him, over his gun tattoo, over the way he looks after his mother, the way he spends his money. He came out and made... I want to break down a bit more. I want to bring in John Barnes here as well. Sterling said he's not referred to the colour of his skin, he's not referred to his lips. That's a very interesting way to explain it. I want to bring in the lips a bit here of these caricatures. So he hasn't, made any textual reference. Of course he wasn't going to be blatantly discriminatory to his friend and say, you have big lips like this cartoon. Oh, by the way, let me say this. I think Mendy looks nothing like that silly cartoon. Nothing. I think it's such a reach to be linking, just because he has dark black skin, to that Conguitos character. I just think it's racially racist in itself to just be linking them so tenuously, but then be linking them to a silly cartoon. John Barnes calling it cute. Do me a favor, John fucking Barnes, the man who used to stand for black power and black pride. What has he become? Like, did he had too many balls as a player? This Peter Beardsley stuff was banter. His old teammate at Liverpool, I was just banter. And what's he trying to say? His discourse is so mixed up. The one about Liam Neeson, I kind of get what he there. I don't get the Peter Beardsley one at all. And I don't get why he's saying that that's a cute cartoon. He's saying there's nothing wrong with big lips. I totally agree. Big lips on black women and black men are beautiful, beautiful. When they're depicted nicely, not when they're ridiculed as in those blackface caricatures with the big outsized lips like that, which were designed dating back 200 years to the blackface minstrels era to mock the African American community, who were enslaved at the time and totally segregated from the whites. So that's what those big lips symbolize. If they're done beautifully and well, not with a silly pop belly and big eyes and a big dopey face, the caricature is not a positive one. It's not. So there's no comparison to saying, what if Kevin De Bruyne was posted next to the Milky Bar Kid? It's not going to happen. People don't do that about white people. They don't. They just don't. I was the Milky Bar Kid. Look at my milk and magnesia skin. Growing up on my street, when you pick on any weakness, you know, when I wasn't playing well in football or whatever, the bigger kids would call me, they'd say, the Milky Bar Kid is strong and tough. Now, I never really had a big problem with that, actually. If you look at the Milky Bar Kid, he's telegenic, angelic, like, what you could say, a well-presented young boy. You know, there's nothing silly about him except that he's presented as nerdy. But he's a positive image, decidedly positive, because there is no history of white, blue-eyed, quasi-Aryan people being ridiculed in advertising. It's the complete opposite. It's always been making fun of blacks and Asians from the white, strong media, you know, the much more highly populated white media. You cannot compare the Milky Bar Kid thing. There's no history of the Milky Bar Kid being ridiculed for his race or for his colour. He's a fine looking little kid, and I found it no problem to be compared to him, except that he wasn't so strong and tough, you know. But you know, I saw Adam McCullough. Shout out Adam McCullough. I like that guy who's with Full Time Devils, has his own channel now. Great one he brought in. He said if Benjamin Mendy had been compared to Gerald from Hey Arnold, no one would have had a problem with it. Why? Because Gerald from Hey Arnold was a cool little black kid with cool hair who got the girls and who was streetwise and cool and one of the coolest kids in the school. One lovely depiction. Maybe you could say Carl from The Simpsons. I'm trying to think of other black characters off the top of my head who are neutrally portrayed at the very least. The Conguito's character is not. It's not a neutral portrayal. It's a silly little portrayal of somebody. And the original of a black person, the original videos, to reiterate again, are silly and scandalous of white Spanish people just making fun of the little Congolitos, you know. Oh, you can't make any jokes anymore, like it's just banter with mates. If we can't make any jokes more, you can't have it both ways. Alright, let's say it's cool. It's a cool little picture. Tell you what, I'm going to call Mendy and every dark toned skinned footballer Conguito from now on. Every time he gets in the ball and I'm watching the match, oi Conguito, pass the ball Conguito. Do you know what I mean? Do you see where I'm going with this? Conguito, Negrito, pat him on the head. He's little Conguito. He's the little Congo boy with his silly big lips. And do you see what you're doing? If you normalise and legitimise that, you're enabling further mocking of black people for their features, which is steeped in racism. If it's done well, John Barnes. If the pictures are done nicely, there's no problem with it, John Barnes. If it's done like the Conguito's character, it's problematic. It doesn't mean he's a card-carrying member of the KKK. Will people stop with this? You don't have to be like Mr. Candy from Django Unchained trying to collect a load of black slaves at the auction to have them in a Mandingo fight. That's not the only way to be a racist. Racism is insidious and embedded in society through conscious and subconscious ways. Okay? It's not about pointing and laughing or pushing or physical violence all the time. It's insidious, and often it's often as bad because it lays seeds. All right, so don't come at me, please. Be better than coming at me with comments and calling me a snowflake or something. Like, go and look at my videos. Go and look at the way I act. Constantly slagging, taking the piss out of mates in good-natured ways. where it's not punching down and making fun of a guy. There's so much I needed to get onto here, and I've gone off on a bit of tangent, got a bit emotional. John Barnes, if you ever watch this, it is about Mendy's skin colour. Because Silva is a little bit of an obsession. Like, why is it so interesting that Bernardo Silva? Why is it so interesting your mate has a darker skin tone than you? Like, who is your fucking teacher? How old are you that you find that funny? The Instagram story did, guys, I've just seen a World Cup winner and he's fully naked because the t-shirt is black. I mean, let's just imagine that that's not silly racial mocking. I'm not saying it's Nazi racism. I'm saying it's a silly, unfortunate little joke. Don't be making that about your black mates. Just don't, all right? Like, it's not respectful. It's not something to be massively offended about. It's just not cool and it's not funny, and it's not a good look for you, man. It makes it seem like you've got some embedded subconscious issue there, you know, of some sort of superiority complex that you're making fun of your mates like that. How is it that Mendy has never made a joke about your skin tone? Have you ever thought about how it might feel to be on the other end of it? You know, and Mendy definitely looked uncomfortable in that Instagram video where he's like, nah. What's he gonna say? Again, he's not gonna point out to his mate, you're a racist, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I've tried to cover as much there. Let me just go to John Barnes again. Yeah, he said, like, if N'Golo Kante was drawn, how would he look? You could draw a lovely picture of N'Golo Kante with his big lips. You definitely could. You definitely could. And with the skin tone. You wouldn't have to make him look like that Conguito's character. There's other ways to do it in much nicer lights. Check out McCullough's tweet. I'll try to have it in. I think it's one of the best tweets I've seen on it. Because Gerald from Hey Arnold, the Conguito's cartoon. Cool, streetwise, positive, silly, primitive, dopey, and draped in all the racial stereotypes of historical blackface. When white people would black up and put on big red lips and talk about eating watermelon and fried chicken down at the campfire, and all these silly tropes which were designed to make black folks and black communities look silly and behind the white people and keep them down. Do you feel me? Like, so I don't want, it's not about wanting Bernardo Silva to get a ban or anything. I just think he's an idiot, like, that he thinks those jokes are funny. I've just seen on Twitter he's been charged, but yeah, I mean, the charge is probably justified. I don't want to see him banned, and I don't, because, well, here's another thing. Pep Guardiola, with the speaks 5 languages thing. Do you know what I mean? No one who speaks German could be an evil man, the Simpson joke. Nobody is saying Silva is a bad person and they judge him off a joke. It's a joke. We know it was supposed to be a joke, but jokes, not everything can be hidden behind a joke. Jokes are often just cloaked in real thoughts, you know, or they're a way to put out your real thoughts and just put it behind the joke banter. We know it was supposed to be a joke, Pep, but it was a stupid joke to be making to your friend. Unfortunate and disrespectful. And now Pep has been really inflammatory, actually, and come out with a straw man argument saying the things they say about him, it's terrible, it's crazy, they call him a racist. No one's calling him a card-carrying member of the KKK. We're saying he should have manned up to the original tweet and realised the insensitive nature of it. Yeah, he's a footballer and he's definitely not the sharpest tool in the box, but man up to it and realise that it's just not a good look to be making those jokes. Do you know what I mean? Just say that. Don't be coming out the way Pep did and trying to completely sweep it under the rug. Because, like I said, if you want to leave those jokes out, I'll tell you what, I'll just start tweeting that all the time now. We all just going to say, yeah, like, Mendy, little Conguito boy, Kante, you little Conguito, pat him on the head with silly cartoons. Are we going to normalise that? Are you just cool with that? If you like the joke, if you're cool with that, I'll call Mendy Conguito Negrito, do you know what I mean? And we'll go back to those silly little stereotypes if you're cool with it. No, you got to put it in check. You got to realise there's jokes and not everything can be a joke, and it doesn't make you a snowflake if you can call out what's wrong, what's right and what's wrong, do you know what I mean? But yeah, John Barnes, where he's actually really, really, like, disappointed me now, you know. He's really abrasive in that Sky News video as well. He's like, there's nothing wrong with it. He thinks he's the authority, you know, because he was a symbol of a man, you know, he was the first black player to be racially discriminated against, and he, you know, he had to really go through it. He really went through it. He had banana skins thrown at him playing for Liverpool, and he was not protected by the authorities, by the media at the time. It was a lonely place for him, and I just wonder what's going to happen to him. Is he sort of assimilated too much and accepted too much of what's right and what's wrong? And is he, I mean, do you know what I'm trying to get at? Do you know what I'm implying? I wonder what he really understands anymore. Like, Darren Lewis had him on TalkSport and he was saying, John, like, you don't understand. Black people look up to you for what you came through. Stan Collymore saying, like, you're giving the green light to people to make these stupid jokes now. You're not, your message is twisted and unclear, you know. He's saying these cartoons are cute. I think it was cute. I think in many respects he looks like Benjamin Mendy. Are you fucking serious? It doesn't look like Mendy. That's one of the really most annoying things about it, that it just doesn't look like him. I've never looked at Benjamin Mendy and thought he looks like, I'd never seen Conguitos. I've never thought of him as a cartoon character or anything silly like. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a cool black French dude, and that's about as far as it goes, you know. So I got a bit wild on this, a bit emotional and not really been too structured. I hope I've covered as much as I intended to, you know. Cup chai. Yeah, Silva, like, check yourself with your silly jokes to your mates. I'm not calling you racist. I'm not offended. I'm not a snowflake. I just think I wouldn't want my mate making those jokes. And when your mate is laughing to your jokes, think about it. Just like Serge Gnabry laughing at Javi Martinez kicking the ball away. People are afraid sometimes to stick up for themselves because of the culture in a dressing room and things, you know. So yeah. That's what's up, you know. That's what I wanted to get across here. Just got my coffee bill here at this lovely loud coffee shop. I'm just sort of like mulling around thinking, what else? I should have wrote a script. I might redo this with a script, you know, if I've gone a bit off key. To sum up, if you've watched this far, it's not. What's racist? Like, what? How do you define racist? You don't. It wouldn't have to be Silva putting that cartoon and saying, Mendy, you are something, 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 and saying horrible words. It can be suggested and unconscious and insidious and implied, you know? And it doesn't matter that they're mates, because there could easily be an alpha bullying relationship going on there, and friendship is a vague concept, you know? It doesn't mean it's locked down for life, you know? The friends come and go at football teams, and, you know, calling them brothers for life doesn't excuse making it. I mean, just think about Silva's. I had a moment thinking of, like, when he put the picture together and he was kind of laughing at himself and he pressed tweet. He pressed tweet and put it out to everyone. Would you want your mate putting you on blast like that? Would you want a mate around you who, like, let's say if you look at one of my features, say my super white skin that doesn't get a tan, you know, which is often a source of mockery to white people for some reason. If that was put out to me, if someone put me up as, like, I don't know, Pink Lives Matter or something, it's not banter, man. I don't want to be bantered up to millions of people. You can have a bit of crack at me if we're on key at that moment, and I'm going to banter back at you. But I generally stay clear of physical features things with friends. I don't think it's nice. I don't think it's a good look. I think you can banter your mates about other little things in a good-natured way. Not being the thought police, not being the banter police. Any subscribers to me know that's not the case. You know what I mean? I think it's a bad excuse for a lack of intelligent and good, proper research. Like, how to be funny. Like, a good sense of humour requires a bit more than pointing out someone's skin colour and linking it to a cartoon or saying they're naked with a black t-shirt. That's not funny to me. So, there you go. Signing off on this vlog. I need to get back into the practice of these essay discourses. I love this, you know, and I could have done this a lot better. I said I'll throw it up, you know, one take thing because my software is bugging out a bit. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. It's going to be patchy, it's going to be a bit rough. I didn't stay on script, but I hope I got my points across. Bernardo Silva, you need to man up to your stupid jokes and think about how you're treating your friend. And think about why you find it so interesting that he's got a darker skin tone to you. Think about that. That's all I'm asking you, yeah? Cheers, guys. Subscribe.